Hi, my name is Carolina Carner, and I'm from Chisholm Trail Middle School in Round Rock, Texas. So, have you ever thought about how you could actually make a VR tour with your students? Well, don't look anywhere else. This is the place to do it. You can use Tour Creator. So, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process of what I would do with my students to create a tour, basically. So the first thing that I would do is I would show my students on Poly, that's this website right here, you'd have to go to Poly. I would show them some of the tours that have already been created by other people. So you can go down here to where it says Tours and click on Tours. And these are all different tours that have been created by people all around the world. So if I had a particular idea that I wanted them to look at, say landforms, I click on landforms, and here's one tour that somebody's created from somewhere around the world. I'm going to click on this tour just to show them an idea of what we're going to kind of do. Okay, the next thing that you need to do, you've already viewed what a tour looks like. Now you need to come up with an idea of what you want to do together with your students. So you could do a tour of your city, you could do a tour of your campus, you could relate it to the content that you're studying in class. I'm going to do a microhabitat investigation with my students this year, and we're going to create a tour of the different locations that they pick. We're also going to do a safety tour where they're going to demonstrate safety rules that they're breaking, because we're going to act it out in little story scenes. Each group will have their own. And then once they build their tour, they'll go through and they'll discuss more viewing the different scenes in VR, what rules the students are breaking from our safety rule list. So these are just some examples of things that you can do with your students using Tour Creator. Okay, so when you're creating a tour with your students, you need to sign in with a Gmail account. Now, what I would suggest when building a tour with your students in your class is I would have a different Gmail address and password for each one of the class periods that are going to create a tour. You don't want to put it in your own personal account. Okay, so another thing to think of is when you are creating a tour with your students, you do not want to have more than one group in the builder at a time. So you're going to have to schedule out some time during the class period for each group to come up and have one of the most responsible students in the group upload the pictures, the 360 image, whatever they need for their scene, into the builder. So you're going to have to do this one group at a time, because if you try more than that, then the information won't be saved. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you how to build a tour.
Here's an awesome tip. Before you have your students build their scene in Tour Creator, you can have them build their scene on a Google Doc with the rest of their group. So what should they include on this Google Doc? They should include what facts they're going to have in their scene. They should include what points of interest they're going to have that are going to be overlays in their 360 image. They should have facts about each point of interest. They should also have a student in their group review the scene for accuracy content. And then they should also have a student reviewer that reviews their scene for grammar and punctuation. So when they actually get the time to build their scene, then it's not going to take them as long, and they will get all of their information in there, and their scene will be wonderful.
So you're going to go to your uploads. You're going to go to Tour Creator and hit Get Started. You can see that I've been playing around with this, but I'm going to hit New Tour. And then I'm going to have to put in a cover image. Now, I'm going to show you how to put in a wrong cover image. You need to look at the pixel values on your images before you put them in and try to use them as a cover photo. So on the cover photo, I'm going to try to put in this picture of the Round Rock. It's a nice picture. But it says that the dimensions are 360 right here. When I hover over this, 360 by 480. So let me go ahead and try to put that in. And you're going to see that cover photos must be at least 576 by 432 pixels. So I can't use that picture. It's not the correct size. So that's one thing to consider. Okay, so then let me go ahead and find another image. And I'm going to click on it. And that picture was perfect. So there's a picture of our city, and that's Round Rock, Texas. So you would go in and you would put a description right here. You could choose a category for what you want your tour to fall under. Okay, and then you can go back and fix that later on, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit create so you can see that it's going to make your tour. Okay, so that was your cover image, your cover photo. So then what your students are going to do, they're going to go ahead and add scenes. So here's my first scene. So this would be my first student group. Now you can use Street View if you're looking for different locations that people have taken pictures of and uploaded. But we have our own 360 images that we're going to use because we're going to use our 360 camera. So the students are going to use my 360 camera that I have for my class, and then all the pictures are going to be put on there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload their pictures to Google Classroom so that they have them available to use when they're making their tour. I did this with my advisory class and it worked out well. Okay, so you're going to select the 360 image that you want to use, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a picture that we took of the Dell Diamond. You can see that my kids have edited out the tripod right here using Paint, which it was super easy to do, and I do have videos about that on my YouTube channel. And then all you have to do is hit Add Scene. You can actually, this is a new feature, you can rotate the image if you need to, but we don't need to. Or you can delete it if you need to, you don't like that image. So I'm going to hit Add Scene. And now here's our picture that my students took of the Dell Diamond. And then you would just go through and you would put in Dell Diamond. Up here at the top, you can put a location, you can put a description of the Dell Diamond, like what is it known for. You can add your points of interest. So my students took a picture of some baseball players that were at the Dell Diamond practicing. They were actually the team that was playing against the Round Rock Express, but this is a picture of them practicing out here. You can add narration to this. You can describe the point of interest right here. So this is just going to take the students, like when you click on this, it can go to this location and then text will pop up about it. But you can also add an image, which this is so much fun. My students did this a lot. We had tons of little points of interest overlays that would pop up. So here's some of the players playing out in the field. And you can add this to the scene. So like when I do my microhabitat investigation with my students, they're going to pick their location. They're going to take their 360 image. They'll take pictures of plants and animals they find in their little microhabitat. They can write a description of what the location was like, the amount of moisture in that area. They could talk about the temperature. But this is just showing you how to build one scene with your students. Then your next group, when they have scheduled time, they'd come in, they'd add a scene, they'd do the same thing that you saw on the last screen, and then you would just rotate through all your groups in your classroom until you had them all in. Okay, so whenever you are done, and I typically like to have between 6 to 8 scenes in a tour, then you would hit Publish. And the most important thing for you to remember is you want to protect your students' privacy. So I would not make it public to the entire world. I would make it unlisted. This feature only lets the tour be visible to people that have the link. So when you publish this tour, you can put it in your Google Classroom and then your students can view the tour. Or you could send this tour out to the parents via email. So that they can see what their students have created if you want to do that as well. All of my parents were very, very enthusiastic and very into seeing what their students created. So definitely keep it as unlisted, hit Publish. And it takes a second or two for it to publish it, and then this is what you need. You need to hit Copy, and then you're going to go ahead and put it in your Google Classroom. Okay, so we just copied our link from Google Poly, from Tour Creator, and now we're going to go ahead and put that link into Google Classroom for the students to access from their VR headsets where they have Google Classroom downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and add an announcement. I'm going to put Test Tour, but this is exactly what I did with my students. I put in our tour of the city of Round Rock. You hit Paste. and then you're going to go ahead and post your tour. And just to show you that the tour will work and it will open, here's the scene that we put in that I just used with you guys to practice on how to put the different images into the program. So here's the overlay that we did. If you had some writing down here, it would pop up at that time also. But let me go ahead and show you here in a second how to pull it up in Google Classroom. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into Google Classroom and look at the tour that we've created. So you have to click on the class that you want to go into if you have several classes. I'm going to go into my test class. And this is the link that my students created about Round Rock, Texas. And your students will have to do this when they go onto the VR headsets that they're using. So if you have a kindergarten or first grade student, they can actually go on here and they can click on the different points of interest and they can look at the different pictures that pop up. We did a scavenger hunt of Round Rock, Texas. They can move around and look at the image all over the place for your kinder and first grade students since they can't use the VR headsets. VR headsets are recommended for kids 7 and up. So the kids that can view it in VR, you click on the goggles and you're going to put it in VR mode. And a lot of teachers don't know that they can go ahead and click on this little dot right here. And that's where your scene information pops up. You can look down, you can look up. You're going to have to move your field of view to the arrow to move to the next scene. And this is all going to happen inside of your goggles. And you can see click, and then you're in a different scene in your tour. So the students can actually do this by clicking on this button when it's closed. And this will actually, they'll look to where they want to go. They click down on this just slightly, and it will actually take them where they need to go to the next scene in their tour. But this is showing you that your students can use VR headsets to view their tour as a class and explore what they've created.